Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It has been a while since I have posted any sort of video on here. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I wanted to create a video and talk with you guys about something that I have been dealing with the last few years, something that I've talked a lot about on my blog and my Instagram, but I wanted to create a video for you guys and just talk with you about everything that's been going on. Yeah, as you can see, I have a giant scar on my neck. So this scar is from a surgery I had last October, and I had a full thyroidectomy, and I also had some of my parathyroids removed. And on top of it, I was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism and Graves disease. So those are all the topics that I'm going to kind of talk about and the things that I've dealt with these last couple years. So let's just dive right into it. So in 2015, Corey and I got married. We moved to LA, and right around that time, I started noticing that my eye was my left eye. I think it was my left eye. It looked a lot droopier than the other eye, and I didn't know what it looked. I didn't know what it was. It was worse on days that I was tired. So it kind of looked like I had a lazy eye. It looked like I had a drooping eyelid, and it was weird. It just didn't look normal. And thankfully, it didn't happen on my wedding day. But when we moved to LA, it actually was getting worse throughout that 2 years we were there. And here's a picture of what it actually looked like. Yeah, it looks like I had a problem. It looked like I was sick. It looked like I just had something really weird wrong with me. So that was all of LA. I was feeling pretty normal and pretty healthy otherwise. Like I had nothing else that was, that I could, like nothing I really want to go see the doctor for besides that. And I didn't go see a doctor for, which I probably should have. So October of 2017, Corey and I moved home from LA. We had a pretty stressful summer prior to moving home. We had dealt with just some crazy stuff. I was extremely stressed out, and I didn't really realize how much stress plays a role in how much it can actually affect your body. So we moved home, and it was probably the best decision we ever made, because around this time I started feeling really sick. I noticed during Orange Theory classes, because I like to work out a lot and I'm a runner as well, so I noticed during these classes I couldn't push myself as hard as I wanted to. Running outside, I felt like I was straining to get anywhere. Like it was just extra effort, and I was like, maybe I'm out of shape. This is really weird. And I first noticed it when I was at Fashion Week, because I was running on a treadmill before the crazy day started, and I literally felt like I couldn't breathe. And I was like, this is just so weird. During this next couple months, I was dealing with a lot of things that I didn't really realize were symptoms of having a thyroid problem. I just thought it was kind of normal because we were moved home, and I was like, oh, my body's just adjusting. I was dealing with super fast heart rate all the time. My hair was starting to fall out. I had bulgier eyes than normal. My eyes looked like they started bulging out of my head. And I started getting super puffy under eyes, and I just felt super anxious all the time. I was irritable all the time. I was hungry all the time. I would work out and I would eat a huge meal, and 2 hours later I was starving again. I was like, this is just, maybe I'm just working out so much, my metabolism is just, I don't know. It was January of the, next couple months later, and my mom looked at me and she goes, something's wrong. Like, you don't look good. And she kept telling me I needed to call the doctor. So one day I was just sitting with her in the house, and she pulled my wallet. She grabbed my wallet, took out my insurance card, started dialing my health insurance, and goes, here's your phone. You're going to talk to them and schedule an appointment. And I was like, I just don't know what to say right now to these doctors. They scheduled me with just a general physician a little bit later, and I was telling the doctor all my symptoms that I was dealing with. He looked at me and said, he's like, I can't diagnose you with anything right now, but what it seems to be is something wrong with your thyroid. You probably have like a hyperthyroid or and you might have this thing called Graves disease. And I was like, what is Graves disease? It just sounded morbid. Like, I thought I was gonna die. I was like, Graves disease, what is this? I was like, I've heard of thyroid issues before, and I was like, oh, you just go into medication and it's fine. Over time, your body will level out. So I thought. A little bit later, I saw an endocrinologist, and she diagnosed me with hyperthyroid and Graves disease for sure. Well, if you guys don't know about your thyroid, your thyroid controls all of your hormones, your metabolism, and it is connected to a lot of other things in your body, and it just can affect everything. Your energy levels, your moods, like literally everything. She got me on a medication, and I was also on a heart rate medication because my heart rate was through the roof the first The first time I went and saw a doctor, my doctor told me that I was on the verge of having a stroke. Like, a stroke. He literally told me, he was like, your blood pressure right now is so high. He's like, how long has this been going on? And I was like, well, I feel kind of normal. He was like, this is not good. Like, this isn't normal. He's like, I'm going to put you on a blood pressure medication. And then after that, I saw the endocrinologist and all that stuff. And then she put me on a medication for my hyperthyroid. So I was on a medication. I started feeling a lot better. My eyes were still pretty bulgy looking, and they still are today. I wasn't really running as much anymore because I had the medication I was on just for my heart. It said, like, don't do cardio. And I was like, of course I'm going to listen to that. And it also said cut out caffeine. So I cut out caffeine for 4 months, which is insane because if you know me personally, I love coffee. Like, I always am drinking coffee. And so I had to cut out coffee for 4 months, and it took me 3 weeks to get off of caffeine. Yeah, that was a little rough, but it was kind of great waking up in the morning and not having to deal with drinking coffee. A couple months later, I started feeling really, really weird again. Like, I was extremely tired and I was irritable again, and I was dealing with super crazy anxiety, and I was like, something's off. So I went to the doctors again and they took my blood work. They told me that my levels had gone from extremely high to extremely low. So I was on the low end to pretty much being hypo, which if you're hypo, your body doesn't produce enough hormones. So it does the opposite. So I was feeling both symptoms. I had Graves' disease symptoms and hypo symptoms. Like, my body was just messed up. During this time also, I had gained 15 pounds in a month, which for me, I mean, that's a lot to gain. And I was feeling so gross. I was like, there's no reason I should be gaining this weight. I also looked at my neck, and my neck also was extremely large. Like, it had grown. My thyroid, it looked like my thyroid was growing huge, which it was. The doctor was feeling around. She was like, yeah, this has gotten a lot bigger since the last time I'd seen you. This isn't good. So I had to go and do all like ultrasounds, which previously, when I first found out that I had all my issues, I had to do like a CT scan and like on my chest and another ultrasound, like tons of blood work, all this stuff. So I had to do another ultrasound. I had to do a biopsy to make sure it wasn't cancer. If it was cancer, they could, for surgery, they'd take it out immediately. And thankfully it was not cancer. Also, my hair was falling out in clumps. Like, I would brush it out and I would just have like handfuls of hair. And I was like, I'm gonna be bald by the end of this, which I did not go bald. It was just very scary. The doctor just wanted to monitor and watch everything that was going on for the next couple months after we had found out that this thing was growing. And it was growing so much throughout last summer. Like, you can see a picture right here of what it looked like. That is not normal. Like, that right there is not normal. It was huge. Like, I couldn't swallow my foods normally. I was choking on foods. I felt like I could barely breathe again. Like, it was affecting everything. My face got it looked like I didn't have a neck. My face was dealing with a lot of puffiness and a lot of inflammation from this specifically. And it was getting so big, it started to wrap actually around my neck. So it was right here, and it was just like going back. Like, oh, it's so gross thinking about it now. The doctor told me, she goes, yeah, we're gonna have to get this thing removed. So October of this last fall, I got it removed. So I'm 6 months out, a little over 6 months out of having the surgery done. And I honestly feel so much better than what I did before. It's weird. So backtrack to surgery, had the surgery done. They removed my full thyroid and a few of my parathyroids. You have 4 parathyroids, which your parathyroids control all the calcium in your body. So mine were diseased as well, and they wanted to keep one of them so my body could at least know how to process one of them, but in the long run, it was just going to cause a lot of damage. So they just took 3 out of the 4 out while they were in there. So I had the surgery. I woke up from surgery and I was feeling pretty great. It was just a very strange feeling on my neck. My neck just felt extremely tight. It actually wasn't as painful as I was expecting it to be, but there definitely was some pain there. He gave me, I can't remember, I think it was oxycodone, and I was also on Tylenol. So I was only on pain meds for like 3 days because I do not like, or like 2 days or 3 days or something like that, because I don't like pain meds, and I was just on Tylenol afterwards. So I wanted to hop on here really quick and say hello. I got out of surgery yesterday, and I've just been sleeping the last 24 hours pretty much. We were up every night, or every single hour last night, which was a little rough, but I'm thankful I'm feeling better. Surgery did go well yesterday. I guess I did lose a lot of blood, but thankfully they didn't have to do a blood transfusion. My voice is normal. Thankfully I can talk after the surgery, because some people I do have some hoarseness, but it's not bad. I really do not want to show you the scar because it's really gnarly and it's really gross. Eventually when it looks a little bit better, I will show you what it looks like. But I'm in a lot of pain right here, obviously, and yeah. Had the surgery. Surgery went pretty well. It was a 5.5 hour long surgery. After a week after surgery, I went in and saw the doctor, and she goes, "Wow, you look so much better already." And my surgeon was amazing. She did such a good job. I'm so happy with the way that the scar even has turned out, and she tried to make it as small as possible. But she told me that my thyroid was so big that it was the size of pretty much two baseballs were in my neck. Like, 2 baseballs. Like, that's the size, also like the size of like a hoagie roll, if you guys know what that is. It was this big. Like that thick and like this big. Your thyroid's normally about this size, guys. Like, it was so big. And she said, yeah, that was perfect timing to get this thing out. Oh, she also told me that it weighed 1/4 pound, which was in my neck. Like, that was the weight I was carrying in my neck. Like, I just can't. After surgery, 2 days later, I had to go back into the hospital because I woke up in the middle of the night with tingling hands, tingling feet, and my lips were numb. The doctor said in my discharge papers, they said if these are the things you're feeling, go to urgent care. So I did, and they told me that I was so low on calcium. After surgery, we were trying to train my one parathyroid to just process all the calcium I was getting. So that can take a little bit of time, but they said sometimes this can happen after surgery, which I had no idea that would happen, but sometimes it can. They pumped me with a ton of calcium, a ton of calcium, and after 18 hours later, I was discharged again and went home. Anyways, when we got home the second time from the hospital, I was feeling so good. I thought I wasn't gonna be recovering for a month or two because I've heard stories from other people, and everyone's story is completely different. So everyone's body heals differently, and thankfully, I was feeling better 5 days after surgery. 2 weeks later, from my doctor's permission, I was at the gym working out. And it was weird because I just had this giant thing on my neck. It was scabbing over. It looked so gross, but I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm just gonna, it's a part of life. This thing isn't gonna be here. Scab's not gonna be here forever, and I'm just gonna rock it. I'd get really weird looks, because it's just not something super common you see every day of someone with a giant slit on their neck with anyways, I had some very weird looks from people, but it was fine. I was like, I don't care. This is me. This is part of my story, and whatever. No, I should have explained this earlier, but if you guys don't know, Graves' disease is an autoimmune disorder that comes from having hyperthyroid, and it pretty much attacks your eyes. It targets your eyes for some reason that I don't even exactly know why, or if doctors even know why, but it makes your eyes look like they're bulging out of your head. Physically can start to, which mine did a little bit. It causes scar tissue to build up around your eyes and behind your eyes. That's what I've been dealing with, and it's not it's pretty much just inflammation, and it's never gonna go away unless it's surgically removed. And from surgery, like I said, I was feeling great. I felt like I was a whole new person. I had so much more energy. I wasn't dealing with crazy anxiety anymore. I still was dealing and still am dealing with a puffier looking face than what I was before due to inflammation and just the removal of they're removing a huge organ in your neck. Of course, you're gonna deal with some inflammation, things like that after surgery. My scar itself, it does hurt a little bit when I touch, if I rub it now, or if something touches it, I have to be really careful. It's still pretty sensitive to stuff, especially in the sun. Yeah, I have to be really careful being in the sun. But yeah, after surgery, I was dealing with a lot of weird hormone things. So after you have a thyroidectomy, you have to be on a medication for the rest of your life to control, because you don't have anything in there controlling all your hormones or metabolism. You have to rely on a pill. So I'm taking this medication, and thankfully I am on the right dosage, and as of now. So it's been 6 months out. The things I've been dealing with after surgery have dealt with super weird, I already have pretty wavy hair. This is natural. But I have these really crazy random parts of my head that are just extra, super extra wavy, and only it's the top part of my head. So my hair has changed. I also have all the hair that I had lost is growing back in gray. So that is fun. I'm 27, gonna be 28 in May, and I have acne and gray hair, so that's cool. I am getting so much stronger again from working out. I feel so much better. I'm finally back now to where I was a 1.5 years ago with working out, which feels amazing. It's crazy how much energy I have now. I am not dealing with like I said, I'm not dealing with crazy anxiety anymore. My eyes are still pretty bulgy, and that's the one thing that's been really frustrating, to be honest. I went back into an ophthalmologist about a month ago, and the doctor told me that she wants to do a eyelid surgery on me where they basically pull my eyelids down a little bit to make them look even and to make them not look as bulgy from the sides. And then they're gonna go in and remove some of this extra scar tissue that was built up around my eyes up top. And then if I want to do another surgery later on, I have to go to a different doctor, but they have to actually remove all the scar tissue underneath my eyes to make myself not look so tired all the time. I never had to deal with puffy eyes before, and I just always look tired. I am self-conscious of it, but it's something I've just trying to get used to and trying to process it. But it's just a part of the whole thing, and it's a part of just my whole story and thyroid issues and Graves disease, and it's a whole complicated topic. It really is, and there's so much I could talk about. I'm trying not to make this video too long. One of the reasons why I wanted to make this video is to encourage people out there that have gone through this or are about to go through it or don't know what's going on with their body. Like, I get it. Like, it is hard. Like, it really is. Last year was the hardest. The last 2 years really was some of the hardest years of my life and Corey's life. Honestly, I can't even put into words how difficult the season was that we were in, just because of all my health issues, and it was confusing and it was exhausting. But I'm so beyond thankful that now that I listened to my body and went to the doctor and got it taken care of, because now I'm feeling I feel like 1,000 times better. I honestly feel like a different person. It's mind-blowing to look at who I was 2 years ago and then look at who I am today, and I feel back to myself. So if you guys have gone through this or are about to go through it, like, I get it. It's hard. It is so hard to process, and trying even to explaining it to people is just, because like, oh, that could be another problem. Oh, that could be one thing. But it's like, if you are dealing with issues with your, like, you're just not feeling right, go in and see a doctor, even if you're a male or female. Yeah, I'm just so beyond thankful that I did listen to my body, and that I really hope that this video has encouraged anyone that has gone through the process or about to go through it. Like I said, hang in there, because it's definitely challenging, especially coming out of surgery, but I feel so much better than what I did before. Anyways, I just want to say thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions regarding my experience and what I went through, please do not be scared to ask. Send me a DM on Instagram. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and thank you for watching. Bye!